Months ago, we learned from CBS News sources that Israel and Hamas have struck a ceasefire deal. We're still waiting to hear the exact details in that deal brokered in Qatar. But according to CBS News sources, one of the most recent proposals would stop fighting in Gaza for more than 40 days, the release of dozens of hostages and hundreds of Palestinian prisoners.
We have been covering this at Indisputable since day one. We are well aware of the humanitarian crisis and the brutal assault of innocent civilians due to this thing called war, retribution. Right now, there are many who are celebrating the news because they are hoping for a better tomorrow. We pontificate about it. They have to live in it. This is obviously something that some are looking at in a very cautious manner because we've been here before. We have dealt with this line of thinking prior, and we also know who's behind it. It's unpredictable as they come. Rickey, you have stood for human life. You have stood for and really at the criticism of others. You've been criticized by others because of it, but you stand for individuals to have freedom and have life. How does this news strike you?
Yeah, I'm just glad, Dr. Richey, because a lot of people, innocent people, children going to school, mothers going to work, fathers going to work, have lost their lives in the famine that has taken place or whatever. It's a lot of people. And I know this country just seems to be pro-Israel on every single thing and every single issue. And there's a lot of Palestinians that have been affected by this, and you just can't paint all of the Palestinians as terrorists. You understand? And that's just my humble take on this situation. I just hope that people are reunited with their families, some of the Israelites and some of the, and the Palestinians as well. And I just hope that we never get into this space again. Yeah.
The greater view is war is never necessary. Once we believe that war is necessary, we've already lost the battle.
Yes,
war
sir.
is never a necessary evil. It is necessary never. We have to always contend that. The dynamics at play currently are, as they have been shared, very brief. There's hopefully concession here. There's hopefully an opportunity to move forward, and there's no more death. But when you look at the fallout from American policies and American politicians to others in the region, to how we have dealt with our domestic and international policies, college students being arrested on campuses, expelled from higher education because they dare to stand up for the rights of the innocent, those who are in Congress who dare to stand up for the rights of children, for the rights of grandmothers who simply wanted to live. And when you look at the average age of an individual, let's say in Gaza and Palestinian, you're talking about the average age is 19.1 years of age. And for the vast majority of males, they're not even of voting age. And so you can't make a political argument that they somehow supported the terrorism that did take place. And so this was retribution. And, Rickey, I gotta say, man, this was my first time. And I go back and I echo some of the sentiment of Jimmy Carter, former president who recently passed away. I'm proud to be a senior advisor at the Carter Center because he was right when many in the Democratic Party did not think thoughtfully about the situation in the Middle East at all. And he was a thoughtful thinker. Even if you disagreed with him, he was thoughtful about the context. So now you see in an international way from South Africa to other nations, they're saying, listen, this is going too far. The United Nations has already spoken. I mean, he has a criminal warrant. Netanyahu has a criminal warrant, basically, his arrest because of war crimes. Have you seen in your broadcasting career something like this turn so just extreme in the middle of a war?
Yeah, I haven't seen anything like it, and it just seems like everything is moving to the extreme right. When you look at what is his name, Netanyahu,
Yeah.
yeah, the prime minister, and some of his antics and things that he say, and some of his action, because the United Nations is not going to wake up out of their sleep and decide that they want to get at somebody for crime, war crimes. And it's just and I'm sure it's a lot of beef to that. That almost never happened. You know what I'm saying? That's very rare that the United Nations come together. That's the United Nations coming together. So there is some wrong, but I think a lot of people in the United States and senators and different people in Congress and Democrats and Republicans just looking at this from a political standpoint and having to stand on one side because they don't want to reap the repercussions of being on that side to not get reelected. That's why I just always agree with people just serving one term so they could do the right thing. Did that make any sense, Dr. Richey?
You made a great point about the political side of this. You have the political measure, then you have the humanitarian measure.
Yes.
If you measure this politically, you measure your words. If you measure this by the humanitarian standards, you said, damn the measuring rod. It's time to speak up and speak loudly. I'm very proud of those who spoke up and lost a job. They didn't lose the job. They just lost a job. And rightfully so. I prefer to lose a job as a righteous man than lose a job being corrupt.